Hey everyone, welcome back to the Food Forest. Today's video is sponsored by Ren, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So today I want to talk about gardening and mental health. I think gardening is probably the best thing that we can do for ourselves for our overall well-being, and a big part of that is mental health. We'll talk about all the aspects of that. And then also my mom is actually starting a garden, and we're going to go pop over and see what that looks like. She's in the suburbia, so she's in the suburbs, so she's got a little small garden and she's super excited about it. And I convinced her finally to let me do a video on her. She doesn't like being on the camera, but it'd be nice for me to look back and see the day that, my mom started her gardening, and we went out and kind of worked on that a little bit together as well. So right around the roses here, brand new little treat this morning. Got some daisies in flower. So one of the biggest benefits that I've really enjoyed about gardening in general is just the fact that there's always something new to find. It's like there's always, something fun to wake up to. And that's why I think gardening can be really therapeutic and good for our mental state. Because often when we kind of get down in the dumps, it's usually because we're in a rut. We're in the same thing. Our daily lives are exactly the same all the time. Maybe it can feel monotonous. But gardening's kind of fun because there's always something fun and new to look at. I was just looking at those flowers. And you have to get out there and notice those things. You have to get out to your gardens and look around and see what's new from the day before. I know those flowers are fairly new. I know the growth on all these plants. When I see an extra couple feet or even couple inches of some plants, then that's really exciting to me. This looks fairly innocuous to most people. This is super exciting to me because this was one of my elderberry cuttings. And this was one in particular that was struggling. It's got carrot planted around it. So I don't want to damage it. But the actual cutting itself was looking kind of rough, and I thought it was dead. And this growth just popped up probably in the last week. So this is, there's always these little treats out there in your garden. When you get out there and you're visiting around looking at all the different plants, there's always something fun to notice. And I think a big part about maybe being depressed sometimes can be that we don't have anything to look forward to. We don't have anything, fun in our lives that's new. And gardening offers you countless new things to do. These sorrel here, I just planted yesterday. These are peppers actually. So just planted these, put a bunch of sorrel in around them. And these will have a little bit of transplant shock for a little bit. There's a cauliflower in here. Kind of mixing everything together. I want these spaces to fill in. So I'll be watching that little patch for signs of improvement. Got this dog strangling vine popping up everywhere. So with all of our invasive weeds, we basically just chop them and drop them to feed all the other plants. Turn a problem into a solution. Got this sumac that's always wanting to grow up. But the nice thing about that is it's always offering us tons of free biomass to chop and drop and build soil with. Got this elderberry here as well, and it's got sumac, big sumac hidden in there. Just chop those off. Just use that to just drop down and mulch. And so not only does gardening get you excited about each day, checking on your garden, seeing what's new, it gets you physically outside, breathing fresh air. It gets you watering plants, hauling water jugs if that's how you do it. It gets you hauling wood chips, gets you planting and physically active. And then obviously it gets you eating super healthy, nutritious food. So it's really the overall solution to everything. It gets you healthier, happier, in good mood. It gets you stronger, in better shape. And it gets you up out of the house. And it gets you looking for something fun to do every single day. And another really important thing about our mental health and happiness is feeling like we have a purpose and feeling like we're making a difference in the world. Gardening is one of those things where you see pollinators coming back to your land, you see wildlife coming back to your land, even though they can sometimes be a gardening pest like a rabbit or something like that, or birds picking your berries off your bushes. These are all very, very useful plants, animals, insects in our world, in our biosphere. And just knowing that you had a part of restoring that is really good for your mental health. And then speaking of our sponsor of the day today, Wren, I'm a member of Wren, so I actually participate in the Wren program. And one of the things that I like about it is not only am I helping to sequester carbon and reverse human-caused global climate change, even if carbon's not the reason why you do it, there's so many projects that Wren does, like the tree planting program that I'm currently supporting that you can kind of see here. I'll show you a little clip. It gives me updates on trees that are physically being planted around the world, because a lot of the worst hit places for global warming and climate change is actually not where I am. In fact, the Canadian climate, if global warming does continue, the Canadian climate, although weather will probably get more sporadic and chaotic, the Canadian climate was actually going to get better for growing food, specifically where I am. Where we need a lot of the help are in the areas around the world around the equator. These are areas that are going to rapidly warm up. It's where deforestation is in some of the worst states. We can be incredibly destructive forces, or we can be restorative forces on the planet. We can be great stewards of this planet. We just need to know how. Sometimes we can't do those things where we are. Sometimes supporting a company like Wren, like I do, and is the sponsor of this video, I'm really excited to work with them because they're doing that work where it needs to get done the most. So in this way I can help support people who need it maybe even more than I do. So if you are really, really interested in doing your service as part of humanity to make the world a better place, one of the best things you can do is support a company like Wren. It actually supports the people who really, really need it really badly right now, and it creates economies for some of the most destitute places in the world, restoring some of their fertile and arable lands and giving them an economy of fruit, nuts, and other food that's growing on perennial tree systems. This is why we all love permaculture, and it's why Wren is a fantastic choice for you if you want to help support the planet. So if you want to know more, check out the link in the description below. The first 100 people to sign up will get 10 free trees planted in their name. That is 1,000 free trees if we can get 100 people to sign up. Check it out, and let's get back to the channel. So here are two gardens that I don't really show a lot, and I don't really know why, because I'm back here often. This was just grass a little while ago, and we turned this into a bit of a polyculture with non-necessarily fruit trees, but still useful trees for pollinators. We've got autumn olive, which is something that can be a little problematic in some areas. It's not so bad where we are. And we put it in a place where we can mow all around it to stop any kind of suckering, to kind of keep it there. We've got raspberries underneath. We've got these nice, beautiful birches climbing way, way up into the canopy. And we've got maple that we've planted in there as well, grapes growing up it. And then we've got the grapes growing over this beautiful trellis. We've got some birdhouses. We've got this is a black walnut here that I wanted to get right in the center area of this guild, that it's eventually going to really get tall. And then we've got more comfrey. We let this all go to flower. Let me see if I can see any bees on there. I don't see them right now. But then we've got more grapes growing up, and one of the things that we added in was strawberry ground cover all on the bottom there. And then we've got another peach in here. So this was another peach that we planted last year. It's doing really, really well. And this is, right next to the chicken coop. So if we get tons of peaches, or even if we get those green peaches, we got to thin them out, I can actually pull those off and throw them in to the chickens that will be coming probably in the next week or so. So that's going to be a really fun update. And then the grapes, we'll just go quickly check the pond out. So just quick little update of the pond. You can see a little more flowers are coming in. I'll try to Someone said, can you just do a 10-second clip of the pond in all your videos? Because the pond is why they watch my channel. So I'll really try to at least throw in a quick little 10-second clip of the pond and some of the permaculture guilds that I've included into the pond, like the sea buckthorn, peach, comfrey, strawberry, sweet flag, little guilds here. Do I see anything else in there? I'm not sure. I can't remember everything that I plant everywhere. We've got a little pawpaw popping up, which I showed last week. The trees, or the leaves, were just starting to come, and they're coming really well now. And we added some canna lilies here, so this is new this year. And this is just a nice little flower that my wife likes. It's a tropical plant, so they won't survive the winter, but get a nice little show of sun and nice color in our summer. Nice dragonflies. These are some of the best buddies that you can get in your garden. Now, and here we got some tadpoles. So frogs are one of the healthiest indicators, or the biggest indicators of a healthy ecosystem, because they're one of the things that will fail the first if you have toxic water. Frogs really will be one of the first things that go, and specifically tadpoles, because they're the most fragile state of the frog. So if you have frogs, and especially if you have tadpoles, you really do know that you're doing something right. And just walking around, seeing all the life around my food forest, it's one of the most satisfying things. I don't really know how you can be depressed and have a food forest garden. And you can tell if you go talk to a gardener and ask them to show you their place. You know, the amount of excitement that they have, it's one of the best things we can do for our mental state. Actually, my mom's here, and we're actually going to go pop over to her house and we'll check out her new garden. So we'll add that on to this video. This should be really exciting. Alright, so today we're at my mom's place. So she started a garden and she's going to show you around.
So Keith convinced me to do this, so I put cardboard down like he told me. I watered it, I poured stuff on top, and then wood chips, and I let it sit for a year. So this is a little patch of his strawberries, and then here he gave me some seeds for corn. So I've got corn here. And then he gave me some, what are these, snap peas or something? So I've got those there, and some cucumber, and there's a squash that he did, and I did some other squash. And then these are my potatoes, and there's actually potatoes coming up here. And these ones are all in wood chips. So I'm gonna see how they work. So I've got a wood chip one, I've got a container one, and here's another container one. Look at all my potatoes that are coming up. And this is comfrey that he gave me. It's growing wild, so I'm going to cut that down when the flowers are finished. And then we had to get our garage doors changed because I drove into one of them. So I decided to make a planter box. So Keith's dad and I built this today. And Keith just came over to help me fill it. So this is our refurbished old garage door, and then I'm going to plant some stuff in there, and that's my garden.
So we did a wood bottom, so we went into the woods and we got some logs on the bottom there, some old rotting logs with moss on them, and then we put a little bit of compost and then branches, and then just compost to fill in the holes, and then branches, and then manure compost mix on top, and then she'll plant into this, and then she'll wood chip the top of it. So that's it. Nice little urban garden. So I think we'll end this one here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming around on this little walk around discussion about mental health and gardening. I think it's really one of the things, if you want to add some centered, focus into your life, gardening's a great way to do it. Thanks for checking in, and I'll see you on the next one.